people. Good morning. It's Randy for Thunder Horse Descendants. I am here today starting out with project number 1. I got stuff all over the place. Project number 1 from our Bargain Bead Box plan video. So it is very early morning around here. I think it's about 6:30 in the morning. And I woke up with a little bit of a something going on, but it is recording day, so here we are. Today we are going to be working on Bargain Bead Box Project 1. This is from Galaxy of Gems 2024 Bargain Bead Box, and this is going to be an Alonga stretch cord bracelet. Utilizing the solar system beads, which was kind of the gist of the box. And so we are going to do that. And I have my Acclaims craft board that we're going to utilize today. And also probably in the next video as well, because it has a lot of spaces where I can do a bunch of bracelets at one time. So let's jump down to the mat and get this party started. Alrighty, party people. I'm sure you're asking yourself, Randy, why are we doing this so early in the morning? It is winter here in Minnesota, and it is cold. I think it's in the negative belows right now. And because my studio is down here, I had to turn the heater way down. So I'm sure we'll have to take some warming up breaks along the way today. And also today, another one of my goals is to not only get videos recorded, but also to set up Shannon's new desk in her cubby. So I have that going on around 2 o'clock. So without further ado, we'll jump into this. So normally stretch bracelets are not this complex. You're not going to need, you know, a whole bunch of things. You can have, if you have these, you can use them, which is super awesome. You don't need these to make stretch bracelets. You can make stretch bracelets pretty simply, but I wanted to utilize all these items since I have them. So first of all, here is our plan, and we are going to do the the solar system, basically. And here's the order in which I'm going to do them. So I'm going to start with the beads that represent the sun. And then these are in order if you want a screenshot, if you are unaware. Or you could Google Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So this is the order in which we will create our bracelet. The back of the bracelet's going to be just the blue goldstone, which is to represent outer space. And we are going to be using our Acclaims craft board. Whoa, I just about dropped my stuff. And we are also going to be utilizing Alonga cording. So I'm going to attempt to do the double up on the 0.30 millimeter situation. And I'm also going to be using, since if it allows me to do so, if the beads allow me to do so, I haven't checked them. But I'm also going to be using this Beadalon needle. So I've used this for quite a lot of Chinese crystal bracelets when we had done some things for charity and we were making a bunch of bracelets. Beadalon had donated these needles to me because it makes it really easy to create a bunch of, you know, one after the other. So I've not used them in quite a while, and it kind of depends on the diameter of the hole of the bead. And since gemstones, they can vary, we shall see what we can do, and if not, well, then we'll move on to something else. So here we go. Let's get this party started with I'm just going to put this little note over here so I can remember what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my Acclaimed crafts board. Now, Jefferson bought me one of the boards for a birthday or an anniversary, and then also Lori donated. Lori and her husband are the ones who make Acclaimed craft boards, and they donated one to me. I believe this is the one they donated to me when it was very brand new and it just come out. We've used it a couple of times on the channel, but I've since had more time to work with it and watch her videos of better understanding of how to work these little dials here. Because when I think I first used it, there was a little bit of a learning curve for me. But if you have a board like this, it comes with a chart. Okay, this is called the Virtual Bracelet Mandrel. And so we're going to utilize this chart to get the size that we want. But before we can do that, we need to get our beads out here and see what the largest size of beads we're going to use is. And I'm just going to put them in here because it works better for the camera. And I'll put these over here because those are all the same. Alrighty. So, I'm thinking that most of these are probably an 8. Yeah. Most of these are an 8. Some of them are larger, but most of them are an 8. So I'm going to say an 8. And what size do I want to make the bracelet? I think I'll go with, let's see. I have a smaller wrist, but I'll maybe go with a 7, okay? I'll probably go with a 7 just for, you know, average purposes. So how you use this chart is you say, okay, this is the length of bracelet I want to make. So we want a 7. You go down here and you find, okay, most of my beads are an 8. You're going to go across your chart and you're going to get 8. So basically, they want me to use the number 8 ring and not to exceed the number 8. So, for making one bracelet, that's not going to be, you know, like super important, but for making others, when we move on to the next video, it will be, because I can utilize all of these rings, even though they're different sizes. I can utilize them to make the same size bracelet, and we have to make, I think it's 8 or 9, which is another reason why I pulled out the board. So let's get this party started. Here is our number 8. Okay, we're making stretch bracelets, so this will actually give us a size 7 stretch bracelet. This is the ring that we're going to utilize to start with, and I have got to pull out the paperwork here because I can't actually remember which ones are supposed to represent. Oh good, they're on here. Okay, so in our chart, according to our doings here, we want the sun. Did they give us anything that represents the sun? It doesn't look like it. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Saturn's rings, Uranus, Neptune, and the moon. Oh, they gave us the moon. Okay, so no to the sun. So we'll start with Mercury, which is the Larvikite. Okay, so I'm just going to put them in here. Just kind of putting them in here for the time being, just so they're in order. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you in, and then we'll talk more about this ring, because I know I'm kind of off to the side with my camera. Okay, so one thing is since this is a stretch bracelet, I can do the entire ring, no problem. If I was going to add a clasp, I would have to remove beads to make the clasp fit. Okay, so I'm not going to do that because we're making stretch bracelet. So I want to start my bead just on the other side of the 8. I don't want to put it in the middle of the 8. I want to put it just to the side to start out with. So we have Mercury, Venus, which is Crackle Glass. And I'm just kind of putting them in there for right now. Mercury, Venus, Earth, which is the Lapis and Chrysocolla. Then we have Mars, which is the Carnelian. Then we have the striped agate Jupiter. This guy. And we have Saturn, which is with the ring. So we can't forget that. So Saturn is the tiger skin with the ring. Okay, so I got my ring on there already. And then we have the aqua quartz, which is representative of Uranus. And lastly, we have sodalite for Neptune. Okay, so they did give us labradorite or moonstone. Now, I was going on about these in the video, and I was like, these are not labradorite. I did not read the paper, so that's me not reading things. But anyway, but they did give us this quite small little guy, and this could be to represent Pluto. Pluto isn't really a planet anymore, I guess. So I'm just going to leave it out because it's really small, and I don't know that it's going to work with my stuff. So now, for the back part of this bracelet, I am going to put all the blue goldstone as representative of outer space around the ring here. And I'm going to do my best not to drop any on the floor. Now, they did give us some things that represent stars and little meteors, and I was going to include those, but at this point, you know, I don't think I'm going to because they are quite small, and I just don't think that they're going to jive with what I'm wanting to do here. So I'm just going to leave it out. You can put it in if you want to. It's up to you. We're going to call that a design choice. And I'm just going to put these all around. And hopefully I will be able to hide my knot in one of these beads. So honestly, these beads are, I'm just looking to see how large the gold is. I don't know that I'll be able to hide it in there. So I'm looking in these gold to see if they're large enough. And I mean, they're not, I don't know that I'd be able to hide them in there. So I am going to grab up just a gold bead out of my stash that has a larger hole. Here we go, perfect. For the purpose of this, just because I like that kind of thing. So I'm going to use this larger holed gold bead. And also, I'm going to make some other bracelets that are supposed to correspond with this bracelet, and they also are going to have gold spacers, so no problem. I'm going to utilize this as the sun, so I'm going to go ahead and remove one of these beads, and I'm going to put that in there as the sun. So now, we should have the sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth. I'm going to zoom in a little more. Mars, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and then all the blue goldstone. Okay, so this is our design, which works out pretty perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if I can fit all of these in order onto my little needle here. Hopefully I can. I'm going to go ahead and start with these guys here just because these are probably going to be what I need to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and start here, see if they'll fit on there, because like I said, sometimes gemstones can be a little bit tricky because they are drilled and sometimes they're not all drilled the same. But so far, I look to be doing pretty well. Okay, this one might be a little bit tricky. Oh, went on there. Perfect. Okay, there's all my planets. Here's what all my planets should look like. My solar system. And then the back of the bracelet. So, like I said, if you had all of these items and you were you know, we're basically doing the design right now. And if you're beading, you know that the design takes time. Yeah, see this one doesn't fit, but all these other ones are fitting. So I gotta swap it up. The design takes time. Now you've made this design, or we've made this design, and we could take and replicate this design. And you have enough beads. Okay, that one's being a problem as well. You have enough beads where you could really do a production of this if you wanted to. That one went on there. Hopefully we don't have any others that are weird. You really could do a production of this because you've already done the design, especially if you have one of these acclaimed craft boards. It makes it really easy to do that. And we'll see in the next video when I go to make these 9 other bracelets. Now they're not going to be this design, but it is going to make it significantly easier to womp them up, basically. So some of these are scaring me a little bit because they're getting a little tighter as I go. And this is kind of one of those things, is like, alright, they're not always all drilled the same, and that can be a little bit of an issue. Some of them are going on perfectly fine. And I have some more in the drawer, so we'll have to try to see for these 3 that would not fit if we can get a better situation here. So here's the extras that I had, so I'm going to try to see if I can find 3 that maybe have a little better fit. That one went on pretty smooth. That one went on pretty smooth. So some of them didn't go on as smooth as others, and that could prove to be an issue when I go to take them off, but I guess we'll find out. Alright, so I've removed the mat, or I'm sorry, the design board, and so this is what we get. So now that we have this, you wouldn't have to use the board every time. Like, you would know, you could count these and you could know how many you need. You would know the design of this, and you could go ahead and make multiples of this. And Bargain Bead Box did provide us with all those beads, so you know, it could be a really easy production if you were selling for, say, online, or you want to do solar system bracelets for the craft show or something. So there you go. So now I'm going to go ahead and go with the Alonga. This is from Beadalon, and I'm going to get, I'm going to double this up. So I'm going to get about, let me see, how long is my bead mat? I'm going to get about twice the size of my bead mat. Now that might be a little bit excessive, but I am going to double it up, and I like to have more to work with than less. So in essence, this is probably about 1.5 feet long. So now I'm going to marry up the ends of this Alonga cord, and this is where we are going to, on this needle it has a little hook right here. We're going to hook that in. Now it's really important that you don't hook yourself when you're moving the beads down, but also you don't want to like accidentally flubber up your cord for some reason on that metal. So now we're going to start to just slowly twist these off the needle, and like I said, we might end up that one didn't want to go through and it bent the hook out a little bit. So this is kind of a situation where you want to make sure that they're easily flowing onto this needle. I feel like I can save it, but if I cannot, I will just skip that bead and I will find some better ones for the end. But yeah, I was able to get it on there. Some of these beads went on really easy onto this needle, some did not. And sometimes if the little hook gets bent out, that can be a problem too. But for the most part, there's not usually an issue using this thing. I've made, I don't even know, like thousands of, well, hundreds of Chinese crystal bracelets for charities and such with these. So it's just that these gemstones are not all the same. So some of them are a little wonky look. Also, if you didn't have a needle for this and you didn't want to go through all this hoopla, you could just use a leader, you know, a leader wire or something. I just kind of like how they look on this needle, like so you can see your design and everything, and that kind of is helpful. Also, before I had the bead board, I could make designs on this needle with ease, also because it is a 10-inch needle, so dependent on, you know, if you understood how that was going to affect your sizing, you could make certain sizes by filling up the needle if you didn't want to count them. They have different size needles as well to give you different size bracelet. Okay, it was a little rough, but we made it. So now what we're going to do, that it's on there, is I'm just going to have it make friends. It's got to make friends, right? Now they say that you don't have to pre-stretch a longa. It's just kind of a habit at this point for me. But also because I'm using gemstones, I want to make sure that everything is going good. So now here's how I tie it off. When I'm using the longa, I split these tails into two. I take one of the tails, I put it through the loop. Okay. And then I'm just going to put them back together. And I'm going to start to scooch this down so that it tightens up on the bracelet. Like so, right? So I'm just going to give it a little more pull. So now I'm going to tie the knot, and people tie their knot differently. You can tie whatever knot you want, if you want to do a surgeon's knot, or if you want to do, you know, whatever kind of knot you want to do. So what I'm going to do is, I think I will do the overhand knot here, and I'm going to go one, and I'm going to run that back two, and I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to pull it tight. Okay. And that is the knot that I have. And I'm going to lock it into place by pulling it this way. And if you want to tie another knot, you can. We have a large enough bead where I could do it again, I guess. I don't have to, but I could. So let's bring that down. Safety first, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit this with a little bit of hypo cement. There we go. So here's the GS Hypo Cement that I have. I'm just gonna comes with a little needle on top. Oh, where did my needle go? Oh, my needle came off. Okay, good to know. It's going everywhere. Not to worry. I guess I'll have to get a new one of these. But in the interim, I'll just plug it back up. I don't know why the needle came off, but okay. So I've got a little Hypo Cement right here. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to dab my string in there into that Hypo Cement. Ooh, don't get on my mat. And once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this off. And stuck to everything now. Now everything's stuck to me. Dang. Used it. Okay. So now I should be able to run this into this bead right here. And there we go. I did get Hypo Cement on my mat. Dang it. Alright. So, all that to say this, I was able to utilize my needle that I wanted just to show myself the design. If you didn't want to use a needle or you didn't have one, not a problem. You take yourself a little piece of beading wire, stringing wire, excuse me, and you use it as a leader. So basically what you would do is you would take your little snippet and you would cut it off. You'd run your elonga in here, and then these two would be, you know, loose, and you would use this as a needle to put those onto your elonga, which is, you know, might be a little bit easier, honestly, at this point. So maybe we'll do that in the next video. But here is our little bracelet. He is very cute. This is our representation of the solar system. So I just used this metal sun bead to represent as the sun, and it worked out really well in the fact that I was able to hide my knot in there. So that is project number 1. And here is the design versus the real thing, right? We even got our Saturn rings on there. And like I said, if you had wanted to make a bunch of these, you totally could do that. Excuse me. I better have a little sip of coffee. But yeah, I think it's quite cute. And it's a 7. It's a 7, and we got that utilizing our acclaimed craft board. Now my wrist is generally a 6 and what is it, a 6 1/4, so that's about right. And but this would be, you know, probably for selling. So there you go. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to pop into project number 2 and we're going to make a whole bunch of stretch bracelets. If you like this, make sure you leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And any likes or comments or subscribing that you can do is very helpful for me. So I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.